For people who don't know, would you give us a little brief description of what success looked like when you were with Korn?
Everything you ever wanted handed to you on a silver platter. Like we had tour buses. Sometimes we had private jets. Not all the time. It was a treat to get private jets, but bodyguards, personal assistants. That would it kind of I personally like turned kind of stupid because I never did nothing for myself. They carried my bags. They brought me my breakfast when I woke up. They got my dinner when the catering was ready. The beer was stocked. The sheets were changed. Hotel keys were handed to us right when we step off. It was just like it was like we were kings. But like in the meantime, I felt like I was stupid. I'd go home and I wouldn't be able to function. I'd be like, my wife or at the time would be like, "You're so lazy." I'm like, "Come on, man. Serve me.
Right.
I'm a king." No, but it was like that, and it was pretty fun. Like in the beginning to just see the crowds grow and play and just jam out with my friends. That part was fun, but just the monotony of touring and the partying lifestyle just started to turn on me.
Before you hit all that mega success and you're dreaming about like what it could be and all that, did you pretty much all that stuff you wanted, did it happen?
Way more, because like even the guy that signed us, he got mad at us one day, the owner of the label, and he called us and we got in trouble for something. He's like, "You guys think you're all hot and you're not going to sell more than 90,000 records. You have no melody or anything." So we were like thinking we'd sell like from 90 to 300,000 records, which is great. But when it went like to millions and millions and millions and MTV and Grammy Awards, and we were like, what is it? What's going on? How did this happen? Like we were told we didn't have any melody, and we're like battling NSYNC and Backstreet Boys on MTV. Like, what's the deal with that? So it was like, the checks came. We got millions of dollars. Nothing crazy like somebody, Justin Bieber or whatever, like making 60 million last year. Like, but we all each had like, a good 3, 4, or 5 million in the bank. Houses paid for. I ran out of things to buy because like if I wanted something, I just went out and bought it, whether it's a house or a pool with like water slides and stuff like that, and BMWs and stuff like that. So as far as the world's concerned, yeah, it was way more than I expected.
And everyone that'll see this video next week, it's almost hard for us to even fathom that kind of lifestyle. But I can speak for myself and probably most of us. We do look at that and go, that's gotta be it. I heard you say before that you had all the girls, all the money, all the travel, the fame, everything. Were you fulfilled? Were you happy when you had everything that you wanted?
No, it was like endless. I was always a shy guy, so I wasn't like the womanizer like the other guys in the band. But I tried it. I went for all that, and it just didn't fulfill me. And all the drugs and the partying. You know what it becomes? It's like when you go to work every day, you start rolling your eyes at it. You're like, oh, even if you like your job, right. You're like, oh, same old stuff. Gonna get up, gonna go sit in the office or whatever. That's the same thing with touring. You go and you play the same set every night. It's a different crowd, but it looks the same because it gets so big. You're like people want to party. You're drinking till wee hours in the morning, sometimes cocaine or whatever. Pills come to the picture. It just becomes like the hangover the next morning. It just becomes like that. But what really satisfied me as far as nothing fully satisfied me, but what really made me happy was creating the music, creating, like doing the albums and stuff, recording. But the touring was just horrible. And but every year that went by and just the success, it just kind of stayed. It went up like way number one, and then kind of leveled off a little bit, and just stayed at this level of success. And I was like, I thought bands go away after 10 years, you know, and I'm thinking in my head, we're not even going away. Like, am I going to tour my whole life, you know, because I just didn't like it.
Right.
So it didn't fulfill me like that. And I'm not like the whiny Korn member, you know, that's, oh, you poor rock star. Everybody is miserable, like a lot of the time, you know, it's just bad relationships. They're all my best friends since we were kids. And we were all fighting and just like stupid stuff, you know, and so it wasn't fun anymore. And those guys know it too. And so I know it didn't satisfy me. I was like, is this it? Is this all there is to life? Because the excitement wore off once I bought everything I could buy. And once I got, you know, the Grammy Awards, sitting behind Eminem, Dr. Dre, you know, going to parties with Madonna. Like, these are the most popular people in the world and the highest you can get. You know what I mean? So it was like, I made it to the top. It's like I climbed up and you're at the top and you're going, okay, I want to go further, but there's nowhere to go, you know?
Hit the ceiling.
Yeah, hit the ceiling. So it was like, it's basically the same thing. You know, it's just, all we did is travel a lot, but it's the same thing. It's life. Whether you got a lot of money or not a lot of money, it's just life. It's just things, you know?
And would you say that when you were climbing that ladder and, you know, all that stuff, that you were number one in your life?
Oh, yeah. I was the man in my world. No, yeah. I think I was. Even when my daughter was born, I was like, you know, I was trying to put her first, but, I mean, I was fighting with myself because I kept partying, you know what I mean? And that's putting me number one, you know? It's like, oh, I want my rock stardom. I want to be... It's so deceiving, man, this world. It's crazy how deceiving it is because it's like, it's such a lie, man. It sucks. It's got to be like that because so many people live the lie, you know, on that wheel, like that hamster wheel, just going round and round for nothing. And, but I'd say I was definitely number one in my life.
And, you know, I know that your testimonies on that I Am Second website, is that what changed things for you, was moving from number one to number two and putting God at number one? Did that change the fulfillment level?
And it's just like, I just got it because everything I ever wanted, I was chasing in music and partying and the drugs and all that stuff. I was chasing that and I wanted it to make me feel this certain way. But like when I wound up at a church and I heard the guy saying God was real and everything, and I was like, I gotta know this. You know, I went home and I prayed, are you real? You know, take this stuff from me. Give me a new life, you know. And then, you know, like, it didn't happen right away, but like once God saw me, that it was like, that I was really wanting him, he started to reveal himself to me. And once I felt God's like touch inside my soul, like a real touch, I mean, it was so real. And I was telling the people that brought me to church, and they were telling me that stuff doesn't happen. Like, it was, but I was feeling God like touch me inside. It was everything I ever wanted, but didn't know was there. You know what I mean? So nothing else mattered anymore to me. And that's all the stuff and all the toys, the cars, the money, all that stuff, I just basically dropped it like it was little toys. Like I was a baby and I dropped them like they're little toys, and I went, you know, and that was all I ever wanted. And I've been chasing him like that, like ever since 6 years now, you know. And
is that, well, I guess let me ask it this way. What does that phrase, I am second, mean to you?
Just that Christ is first in every single way. When I get up in the morning to when I go to bed, that Christ is first in my life. And I'm actually last, and he goes him, my daughter, you know, and you know, I'm last in my family. But you know, sometimes I put myself first, you know, because I'm a fallen man, and I fall, and I do stuff for me, yeah. You know, and I think we all do that. But I'm trying to, because you know, I'm trying to be crucified with Christ. You know, I lay down, and He lives through me, you know, and serves. But you know, it's crazy because a lot of people think that you get all sober and stuff like when you find God, but it's a high like no other, because His Spirit is in you. You're seated with Him in heavenly places, like in the spirit realm, and He's living in you. And it's not just, oh, Christ, come into my heart. It's a reality of the supernatural living God dwelling in you and leading you. And that's better than any mushrooms I ever took. That's like, it's the funnest thing ever, man. I mean, you know,
cool.
So many of us know it.
Yeah.
But so many people, they don't get past that one. They don't get past the because it says in the Bible where it says, Paul says, to some we're the fragrance of life, to others we're the smell of death, you know? And when you go in, sometimes it seems like, oh man, these are these Christians that are boring and everything. And that's the lie that's in your head. Once you cross over and lay everything down, it's like a whole world opens up to you that's eternal. And you're living it on earth. And that's the biggest trip ever. I love it.
Yeah, that's cool. You were talking about how you kind of had everything, and you even used that line, you're like, man, life was like handed to me on a platter. And although everything was like a dream come true, you said, I hated the monster that I was. And then later you started talking about how you went to church as this like last resort thing, and you said, all right, God, if you're real, you got to take this stuff and you got to change me. And I was watching that, and I was just, for one, totally inspired watching it. But I wanted to ask you, what do you think God's changed most about you since that prayer?
Oh, put me on the spot.
And maybe it's a few things, or whatever.
My heart. He changed my heart. And I live from inside now. Before I just lived on the outside. It was all about, outside things, outside pleasure, getting high, feeling like a king, getting worshipped by all those fans and everything. And now my heart's different. It's like my heart's, first of all, on God. That's my number one thing, is to connect with Him, because that's what He wants and that's what I want, And then, to get my to be able to, like, it takes the strength of God to get someone to walk away from all the money and fame,
Yeah.
So I walked away from it. I looked at my daughter, and my heart went to her, and I was like, I'm gonna raise you. I don't gotta be gone all year, And she was like looking at me like, I'm gonna have a parent at home all the time, and she lit up, and that was just that's better pay than the money, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'd say, the number one thing He changed is my heart. There's other things too, like my bank account has changed quite a bit. Just how I totally live. Like, I don't live from the systems of the world now. If things are crashing down on me, He changes it in His timing. But it's like, I don't got to worry no more, because it's just like, So there's a lot of things that are different.
You mentioned in one of those videos that He finally gave you contentment.
Yeah.
If you're talking to a bunch of people, just me even, and you say, I had it all, it didn't work, but God gave me contentment. How would you tell me, here's the first thing you need to go do so that God can give you contentment and you can stop trying to chase it?
First thing you got to do is lay down your life, man. I mean, so many people, I was saying earlier, so many people don't, they want to get clean, and they think that hanging around at the church or whatever, will help them get clean. Then they look to the people. There's an invisible God that's behind the people, that's inside the people, and who wants to come inside of you, and He wants to encounter you inside your heart. And it's through prayer. It's to have that faith in your personal life. That's what changed me. I mean, just to be honest, I was like, if it was all about the people and getting sober, I wouldn't have lasted.
Right.
There's no way I would have lasted. It's the relationship of the invisible living God and just His kingdom. His kingdom, He says His kingdom is at hand, and the kingdom of heaven, just the realms of heaven are like at hand. They're accessible right now. And that's what gives it. That's where the roller coaster ride starts. That's when the supernatural world opens up to you, when you got to believe. You got to believe. And then when you believe, you show it by actually talking to God. And I got saved and everything. I was going to church on Sundays, and I was like, the church is closed on Monday. What am I going to do?
Right.
So I got worship music. I was like, they play that worship music. So, I'm a metalhead, but I was like singing songs like, thank you, God, and it just whatever songs were like, because I just got off of drugs. I was like, oh, thank you. Whatever they do, I'll do, When I felt God start to show up his presence in my house when I did that, I'd listen to sermons after the worship. So I had my own church at home. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because I was just like gung-ho for it.
I've heard you reference Matthew 11:28 before. Come to me, right?
I got it tattooed on my neck in case I forgot it.
Right on.
But it's all backwards in the mirror, so I'm like, what? No, I'm
What
just
is
kidding.
it? What's that verse mean to you?
Oh, I was in the gutter, man. I was getting drug dealers to send me 8 balls on the road all over the world in Europe, and I was risking my safety. I was in the deepest gutter, and I tell my testimony, but the words can't describe the fear in the dungeon I was in. And when he came into my life, and I felt like that supernatural love coming to me, and I was getting freed from the drugs. That's the scripture that spoke to me. It's Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. And for that, to me, was like, I was like, I needed rest. That was the biggest thing I needed, because all my money, I went to the top-notch doctors. They couldn't buy me rest. They couldn't prescribe me rest. And I'm talking about peace inside, and I could not get it. And I was like, if this guy is real, like if this Jesus is real and his scripture is real, and these guys that are telling me he's real are actually not like cult leaders, they're actually like, they're not fooling people. There's actually a real God that's reaching out to me.
Theme parks or anything crazy.
Yeah, like theme park churches are just, those are cults. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, what was I saying?
Oh, I totally messed you up, man. Well, you were talking about just Matthew 11:28 and how.
Okay, that was it.
The peace.
That was it. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. So that was like the most important words I ever heard in my life. And so, I got it tattooed on me and everything. And also, people were giving me didn't know each other. Like this lady gave me a card. I opened it, from the church, and it said Matthew 11:28. I was like, oh wow. The guy that brought me to church sent me an email. Didn't know her. He's like, I feel like the Lord gave me this scripture for you this morning, Matthew 11:28. I went to the church, and up on the screens, Matthew 11:28, and I'm going, either these people are trying to fool me, or God is really I felt like it was a Twilight Zone or something.
Well, this because of all the people you talked to today. You don't have to be an ex-famous rocker to need peace and to feel like no matter what I do in this world, I can't find rest. What would you say to someone who's in that boat? They are weary and they are burdened and they don't know what to do. They don't know where to turn. What would you say? Here's what I say to you.
I would tell them just to, exactly what worked for me, what worked for you, what worked for so many people that come to this church that I've heard that a lot of people struggled, and the only thing to do is to come in full 100% and just start plugging in, start listening to teachings online, start listening to worship music at your house, get rid of the friends in your life that are bringing you down, and just give this a shot for a few months. And, just put it in your mind, I'm going to do this with everything I have, and to see what's there. And if it's not you, then you just, walk away and do something else. But I guarantee you will find exactly what you're looking for. You'll find the reason why you're breathing, the reason why you're alive, the reason why you made it through the drugs and the partying it's just Christ. Christ is everything. And it's not about religion. It's not about all these different people, saying their church is right. It's all about just a relationship with God, man. And he will if you give it a try for a couple months, just put everything you can into it, God will meet you and you will be blown away.